You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 155.
Yeah, this is episode 155 of the Zod and Drea podcast. Welcome back to listening. We are here now. No more repeats and reruns, we're hoping.
Yeah, this one's for real.
Yeah. So we're going to try to keep on that path. It's just been a really busy time, with the pregnancy going on. Little Lorenzo, he's growing big inside of Drea.
Oh my gosh, he's so big.
So we're, we've been just trying to focus on that, get that into moderation. But, we have plenty of topics. We never run out of that because as time goes on, we always have something to say and there's always something to talk about. So,
pretty much all the time.
One of the good things that we had, now hopefully everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. We know a lot of people went to different places, seeing people having a good time. Some people even, I saw some people going off to like not Puerto Rico, like the Dominican Republic, and just having a good old time, just getting out. I'm like, I feel you.
And shout out to those that were in the service now, that were in the service. Thank you for your commitment and for your time that you spent.
Yeah. And even on that, I guess Memorial Day is really for the ones who died. So sorry if you got whatever. It's like, I hate war, and I think it's one of the stupidest things in the world. And I think Bushwick Bill said it best when he said, when two suckers don't agree on something, thousands of motherfuckers die for nothing. And that's how I view war. So I find it to be unnecessary deaths. But, if you wound up dying for that commitment where you believe that you were doing something for the greater good of the people, then, I salute you. I just wish that it would never, ever get to that. You say that you're supposed to solve things by discussing and talking, having a political discussion in order to resolve issues, and instead, you never see two presidents jump into the ring and fight it out. They
or send their kids.
Yeah, or send their own kids, right? Anyone in Congress, but instead, they always have to send somebody else to go die for someone else's fight because you guys are arguing. So anyway, let's get into this real quick. This is what, so happy Memorial Day for those who celebrate it. But let's get into it. For politics, we're going to discuss our road trip that we had because we had a vacation over to Puerto Peñasco, which is Rocky Point in Mexico. And we had a really good time there. We'll talk about that a little bit. But, we say politics for a reason because of all the Americans that we're visiting. What's up for
it's interesting. Entertainment is John Wick 3.
Yep, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. And, of course, the main topic for today will be when does a relationship turn from love to obsession? This is number 155. Let's get it in. So let's talk about John Wick real quick before we get into the trip.
Okay.
So for anybody who hasn't seen chapters 1 and 2, John Wick stars Keanu Reeves. He's a retired assassin, and Reek goes in, loves his car. Reek from Game of Thrones. He loves his car.
Also known as Alfie.
Okay.
That's his real name is Alfie.
Fine. His name is Alfie in this one, but he'll always be Reek. So Alfie goes in. He loves his car, which is a beautiful Mustang. I mean, how can you not love John Wick's car? But he doesn't know who he is. Loves his puppy, and he tries to buy it from him. He's like, it's not for sale. So they go and track him down in his home, beat him up, kill his puppy, which was the puppy that was representative of his wife. As after his wife had died. So this is an assassin who retired. He got out of the game, did an impossible mission to be able to get out. He's free and clear, has his car, has his puppy, his wife dies, and this guy who comes in, wants his car, steals his car, beats him up, kills his dog, and he comes out of retirement and, just gets into it and destroys everything. So then part 2 comes in where it's a continuation of that. People keep on saying, what? It's just a dog, but, John Wick is no joke. He is mad guns, mad assassins. And part 2 comes, I forgot what happens in part 2. I gotta watch the whole thing. I just know he goes into, I think, a foreign land or whatever. Remember, because Ruby Rose is in it, Common was in it. And that's when you really get into the hotel a lot more. And, he has another dog, and it just all hell breaks loose to where you're not supposed to do anything in this hotel that is related to the criminal element. If you get caught, you're excommunicated pretty much. But you definitely don't kill. And although I think it was in part 2 or part 1. No, in part 1 somebody tried to kill him in the hotel, but they failed. The woman. Remember that? But in part 2, John Wick got so sick of this dude's crap that he just killed the dude in the hotel, which brings us to part 3, because then there was a hit on him and a contract for $15 million for anybody.
And this is global.
Yeah, global. So he had a contract on himself, and the one who put the hit out, which was the owner of the hotel, I want to say Mr. Wednesday, but I forget.
That's from another show. I'm like, don't get the shows mixed up.
I can't help it. But he gave him a certain amount of time to get out of the city or do whatever he had to do in order to fix himself up, because he had been stabbed and shot and this and that. So that's what had happened, and that's where chapter 3 Parabellum takes place, and John Wick was at it again. So you want to continue on?
Yeah, so you've got a great cast members that come in that either play that people that supported him, and you get a little bit of a background of John Wick and what even brought him before he became an assassin. You know, we got to see some of the like the foster home he was raised in. Anjelica Huston plays a major character from his past, and I'm a fan of Anjelica Huston, so I was happy to see her. And then, so you got to see some of that, and then those others that came in to also help him, because since he's got a global hit, he's got to kind of make amends across the globe. And then he ends up in Cairo, is it? Or no, Morocco.
It was in Morocco, I think.
Where he then meets up with another former assassin who's played by Halle Berry, who did an amazing job. I had to, because my bladder, I missed the majority of her fight scene.
You missed that entire
fight scene. But I saw some.
You saw
some, but I gotta see again. So yeah, that's what I missed, because I'm sorry, my bladder can't hold anything anymore.
Yeah, you saw a little bit in the beginning, but that whole fight scene was just. Let me say this about John Wick, Chapter 3 Parabellum. I have to give it to Keanu Reeves. I have to give it to the Iron Chef dude, and I got to give it to Halle Berry, because this movie and all the extras. This movie, literally, I've never seen a movie that was completely non-stop action.
Non-stop.
It was non-stop.
But it was done so well too. Like it was a dance. It was really well choreographed. These were unique moves you don't see in a lot of other movies. And Keanu Reeves is just great. He just can't do anything wrong.
Yeah, Keanu's doing it, and it looks like this one, which is the third installment, it became the highest earner of the franchise with $182 million.
Oh
already.
Wow!
So it's funny how it accumulates. One of those things where it comes out, people are like, I'll look at it. But I guess, it winds up hitting on digital, DVD, Blu-ray.
It's a cult classic.
Streaming services. Then people go and see the next one. Then they see the next. So this one really hit, and they made a lot of money in just 10 days. So, congratulations to that. I know I got to go see it again, because
I know I did. I missed a part.
That horse scene alone, come on. But you got to see John Wick Chapter 3. Make sure you watch the other two first.
Keanu Reeves, if you're listening, please do another follow-up for Constantine. Sorry, this is my little thing that I love Constantine.
Yeah, that movie was
I loved it.
trash.
I love Constantine.
Wasn't Al Pacino in it?
No.
That wasn't it?
No, you're thinking of something with the devil.
Oh, that wasn't Constantine.
No,
Okay.
Constantine's the one where he's the angel.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Are you sure?
I want another one. I want to follow
I
up.
gotta look and see. Anyway, trash. So let's talk about our road trip to Puerto Peñasco and the Americans visiting. We're gonna call this one the politics one, because number one, we wanted to make sure we wanted to have a vacation after the election. So we went and packed up the car. This was only a short trip from Thursday to Saturday. So it's just Thursday, drive down, Saturday, spend all day. Friday, Saturday, all day, Saturday, then we come back home. No big deal, in and out. We have always been hearing about Rocky Point. All our friends have been visiting, and it was time for us to go down there. We're like, you know what? Let's get our passports, let's pack up, let's bounce out, and just check out what it's all about. We had heard all kinds of different things, such as, watch out, because, God, everything from maybe the Zika virus to you're going to get robbed on the way down there. The police
cartels are going to get you.
So, we paused on it. And, it's like, screw it. All my friends are always doing it all the time. And so many other people, why not do it? There was not one issue. And, man, it was beautiful down there.
We had a great time. What we did do, just for protection, is we did get the, the Mexico insurance and for the car,
Yeah, just car
which
insurance.
you buy in Ajo, which is the last major city then before you hit the border.
Yeah.
So it was like for 3 days? We got it for $40.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was something like that, like 2 or 3 days. It was
Yeah.
only like $38, so it was cheap. You know, it was cheap just to get it, just to insure in case you get in a car accident or who knows what. Because I'm gonna tell you something. There's some people who just, they just took stop signs and red lights as suggestions and they just rolled right through them. But if you want, one thing before we get into the political part is go and watch our video. You know us. We're Zod and Drea. We love to document our trips. So we have this as a road trip. So you can go to zodanddrea.com and even the Facebook and all of our other social networks, and you will see them. You'll go and look at the videos. We have 3 videos, and then judge for yourself to see what it's like over in Rocky Point in Puerto Peñasco, and just, see if that's a place you would like to visit. The ocean is absolutely crystal blue. It's beautiful over
The
there.
seafood is so good.
Fresh. Like, we saw people pretty much coming right off the docks with fish, just slamming them down to get chopped up.
Giving it to the cooks and the chefs, and they're like, they made it. It's
Right
so
there.
good.
Very good food. But one thing that we did notice is a lot on our way back. We were lucky because the way that we traveled there by car, no big deal. It was only took about 4 or 4.5 hours. And it was fast. Fast. We didn't even think about it. Was we had no traffic going down. No traffic because it was the Memorial Day weekend, but we went right before the Memorial Day weekend kicked in. Because we left on Saturday, but we left on Thursday, but we left Mexico on Saturday. So on the way back, while we were leaving, there was nobody behind it because everybody was going into Rocky Point. And that's when we saw so many more Americans. So we already had our adventure. I'm already peeling from sunburn. Like, we already did our thing. And I mean, all the Americans that we saw,
It was nonstop. You saw on the way coming in, so many trucks and vehicles, and that's great. And what kind of brings us to our attention is that, one, there was no wall when we drove over
we
there.
didn't see any wall. There was
border.
no wall
There's
anywhere.
no wall anywhere, right?
Anywhere.
And which is great because there shouldn't be that, and that's another subject for another podcast. But this is a community, and all the little small communities and small towns on the way over to Rocky Point all depend on American dollars and tourist dollars, right? So why would this be a community? Why would Puerto Peñasco, which again is part of Mexico, be something that should not be accessible to people? Why build a wall? Why Americans
That's not even like the topic I really wanted to talk about was the fact that so many of them and so many Americans. I mean, we didn't see them wearing the MAGA hats, but man, there were so many people that sorry to stereotype, but there were a lot of MAGA-looking people there. And I know that a lot of people like to go to Mexico, whether it's Cancun, whether it's Rocky Point, but they like to go and celebrate and let loose, and they bring their passports and they do all this stuff. But they know they're talking about build that wall and trying to keep all of these people out and trying to build the cages. It's just hypocritical when we see a lot of Americans doing this, and that's just what I wanted to say.
Please listen carefully.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Zod,
And I'm Drea.
and we want you to check out the Zod and Drea podcast every Tuesday.
Where can everybody find us at?
You can always check us out on www.zodanddrea.com.
Where else?
You can always check us out also on Facebook at Zod and Drea.
Instagram?
Zod and Drea.
Snapchat?
Zod and Drea.
YouTube?
Zod and Drea.
I see a pattern.
I see a pattern. So if you haven't caught that, catch us at Zod and Drea on all the social networks. But also, make sure you subscribe to the Zod and Drea podcast. Where?
At zodanddrea.com.
And also on YouTube and iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We're coming for you.
Let us know what you think, and if you want to be a guest, reach out to us.
And put all of your input into whatever our topics are for the week, please. So we hope to check you out and see you there.
Bye!
All right, we're back at it now. The topic is, when does a relationship turn from love to obsession? Now, this is something that I know everybody probably has some sort of an experience with, whether it's yourself or whether it's somebody you know. Now, this weekend, we got to see it with somebody that we knew, but we already know that we have seen it with a whole bunch of other people, because how many people will actually be on those social networks? And, you can always tell on social network when somebody's going through something in a relation.
Mm-hmm.
Always. That's when all of a sudden they have these memes that they grab from God, usually Instagram, because they're always in a square. You ever notice that the ones?
Yeah, in a square, and it's something to vindicate their actions. Like, I'm such a great catch, or I don't need a man, or I don't, or it's
Yeah.
it's just some type of statement that it's like, okay, great, yeah, I get that once in a while, but when it's posted every other hour,
Yeah, well, on that one, I love, my whole thing is whenever somebody, because it's not even just this one, it's like I see it all the time, and I know anybody listening has seen it also. When you see on Facebook, it's always somebody who hasn't posted in a while, then they get into a breakup, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they're, oh, I'm all on Facebook all again. Except the only thing I post is how much, oh, I'm single and I'm ready to mingle. And, look at me, I'm such a great catch, and this and that, and then all of a sudden it's, this person in particular, oh, I can't stand them, da-da-da-da. It's like, okay, it's one or the other. Either you're single and you're ready to mingle, which means the other person is now out of your head, or the other person
out of your life or something.
Right, this person is now a negative in your life. You can move on. You can move on with your life. And this is now, hey, I once loved this person. I'm over them now. Now I'm ready to do it. All that is just a verification for people to say, hey, what's wrong?
Right. Wait, what do you mean?
Yeah, how are you doing? Okay.
Yeah.
You're not, number one, you're not single or ready to mingle because...
That's just an attention grabber.
Thank you.
Specifically for that other person. It's not for the audience. It's just for the person that you're mad at.
Absolutely. And we've seen this a lot. You've seen this. They just want to get the attention for that person. You're like, okay, is this love or obsession at this point? Like, love is one of those things that, to me, I feel that, like, I'm no expert on, so I'm not going to talk about a diagnosis for anything, but, like, love is one of those things to me that is almost, it's natural. It's something that just comes without having to even say. People love to say it, of course, or they love to hear it, I should say, but it just is. It exists in a space almost all of its own without having to be told that it's there. Like, it's a romantic thing. It's a way that you can
It's a
feel,
connection.
It's a connection. You can feel the other person without, if it's something that you have to say out loud. Now, I understand when you're trying to get over somebody, because we've all been in breakups. We've all been in breakups where we've been loving someone and you're hurting. The way that I used to always do it all the time was I would write a song. I'd write a song about that person, and maybe I'd blast them hard or whatever. I might release a song, might not. Maybe I loved them too much, and then I just wrote a love song or something like that. But usually it's like, okay, I'm mad, so they broke my heart, and I'm blasting them out, and that's just it. But it was never, and maybe it's just we grew up in a different time, but it was never, I'm going to go to Facebook and I'm going to post every hour about this person and how much that I'm over them.
Or, and then even insult them. Every hour on the hour insulting them like, oh, this person always does this. This person never did this for me. This person never did that for me. It gets to the point where you wonder, okay, to the person that's posting all of this, then if the person that you're trying to separate from is so horrible, why'd you stick around?
Like, what did you stick around for and for that long?
Like, what happened? Or please tell me this is ended now and this is just to vent. Okay, great. I get that. You just need to, like, get it all out. But when it continues on for days and days and days, it's like, look, this is something that you're just trying to get some attention for, and I can't take it seriously.
And what kills me is the fact that they're going to wind up taking this obsessive behavior to the next relationship. Because a lot of times what they do is, in order to prove that they're over somebody, they get right back into a relationship. Like, okay, I'm going to prove, oh, look at this is such a great guy. And then meanwhile, they're sitting there thinking about the other person because they want the other person to know that they are now happy.
I'm so over you because look at the person I'm with now. I'm so over you.
And I got to go and tell them. It's like no matter amount of blocking or whatever, it's like you can't trust anything about that. So I'm looking at Love Panky.
What's Love Panky?
Love Panky. It's a website. And one of their topics that they have is, of course, it's not going to pop up now, but it's signs of obsession, 14 signs of obsessive love you can't ignore. So they call it obsessive love, which is kind of like the same thing. Like, I love the fact that, they assume you cheat on them. Now, we know a lot of people. Like, these are people who can just be literally, if you don't share everything at all times. Now, they don't have to share with you, but if you don't share with them everything, then you're cheating because there's a secret now. I don't know everything about you because you have a password on your phone. So therefore, you're cheating.
You're holding something back.
Yep.
It's like, look, it's a like everybody's phone has more than just text messages on it. You've got your bank accounts, you've got other types of maybe financial stuff, you maybe have insurance, like your life is on your phone. Now if you have a Tesla, this to start your car is on your phone. So of course your life is going to have a password. Who gives a damn if someone doesn't have the same password or not, or has access to it? That's your life, and that takes a huge amount of trust to gain.
And it's not just a lot of trust. It's just like, okay, it's not even just enough. It's like, okay, it does, because it does. You're right with that. It does take a lot of trust to gain. But sometimes can't you have something private just to yourself?
Why does everything, right?
You know, like, am I not allowed to have certain things that are private? I'm sure you have things that I do not know about. And why is that not okay? I don't need to know everything. I have enough of my own crap to deal with that I have to know everything about you and then everything about that. The only thing that we have to know pretty much 100% of things about, at least to a certain point, is our son. Like, you know, we're going to need to know everything because we want to keep him safe from. But it's like, Jesus, unless something comes to a head. Now, yeah, sure, if I'm like, got like mad chicks and, you know, they're sending mad nudie photos and doing all kinds of stuff, it's like, okay, whatever. You know, might be like, okay, maybe this isn't, you know, good behavior, you know, on anyone's part. I'm like, yeah, babe, check this out. Yeah. I mean, knowing me, I'd be like, check it out anyway. Like, I'd be like, hey, check it out. That's just me, though. Like, that's me, who I am. But some people, they can't take that type of, look, my thing is, if you're over somebody, if you are over someone, or even more importantly, if you want to get over somebody, you'll actually try, and you'll not advertise your entire relationship to everybody just because you're sitting there looking for attention and craving the woe is me, look at me, I broke up with somebody, or I'm such a great catch. Because most likely, you're not. Let's just be truthful.
Oh, it's like, just look at what needs to be, what's going on with you. You know, why keep blaming this person? What a relationship's 50-50. What are you responsible for? You know, all of this stuff, again, it just goes back to this, what's the attention for? Why get the attention? Or if you're so mad at somebody, why don't you talk to them about it? If they're in the same bed as you, but you're texting like, oh, I can't stand when he does this. Well, why don't you just tell him? Like, he's next to you. I don't understand this at all.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. It's like, I mean, if you're winding up living with somebody, or, you know, you better have that conversation. You better have that conversation early on about who you guys are. Otherwise, you might as well break it up. Because if you see something, if you see my thing is, if you see a red flag, it's one thing. If you see two, it's time to go. Like, you see a red flag, you might be able to resolve it and turn it into a yellow. Hopefully, you'll be able to turn it into a green and everything's good. You know, it's just a misunderstanding, whatever. I'm sorry about that. I'm not going to do it. You apologize. Everybody moves forward. You're good. But if there's another one, and then another one stacking up, it's like, what is your purpose in actually staying in that? Now, this love, it's like, is it love? Was it ever love? And is it now just an obsession for you to feel secure about something?
Right. Or was it something you just wanted to covet? You just wanted to have this person and claim this, but not really be in a loving relationship.
So it's like, what is that point? What is that point in that crossover point when it happens? Over also on Love Panky, they also say things like, they say, I love you too soon. Like, we've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
That actually happened to me.
Talk about it.
And I was like, oh, no. It was like the second date. And the guy's like, I love you. I'm like, you don't even know me. Why would you love me?
That dude was about to stalk you.
Yeah, I'm like, no. I'm like, thanks. I remember I had told him, I'm like, thanks, but I don't feel that way towards you. And I don't know if I'll ever get to that point. I was honest, because it was just too much for me. Some women may love that. They may just be like, that's what I've always wanted to hear from somebody, especially after the first or second date. But for me, it was red flags. And yeah, I immediately didn't have a third date.
I like this on Love Panky, talking about obsessive behavior. Now, tell me if you know anybody like this. Their dating history is blurry. Usually when you ask them about their dating history, they always talk about how their exes were crazy.
Yes.
Don't fall for that. I mean, they probably were crazy because this person made them literally go insane with the manipulative behavior. Yes. Whenever it's a one-sided discussion, I never believe them 100%. Now, I'll believe them, and if it's a friend of mine, I'll believe in the love that they have for me, and I'll believe in the love. But it's like there's always going to wind up being somebody that we have.
Mm-hmm. And but no, I completely get that.
So we wonder if people who wind up doing that type of behavior are really serious, because we always know somebody like that. Like we always do. I like this one. They will never let you go. I'll never let you go. Like anybody, yeah, I'll never like. That's literally a warning.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally warning you that they are obsessively behavior. This isn't love now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to be hard to get rid of somebody like that. See, you got to know the red flags. You got to see it when they come, when they hit you really hard.
When they show you they're crazy, when they show you, believe them. So yeah, and I actually had that happen to me too one time, where someone's like, "Yeah, you know, I'm never gonna break up with you. You can't leave me," and I left. So yeah, no. Once I heard that, that was not healthy for me at all. What is it? Jealousy. Another one is jealousy to the max. Oh my gosh, is that such a huge red flag? Jealousy about anything. Not only about, oh, why are you texting so many people? Why do you have so many maybe female friends that are friends with you on social media? I've seen that, and that's, who cares, right? Or questioning constantly, what are you doing? What are you wearing? Why you smell that way? Like anything, come on. Then that's just that is way more than just, oh, I'm really concerned about you. That's more like, no, you're extremely jealous.
See, I'm not into jealousy. I'm not into the jealousy thing. I think jealousy it's one of the most ridiculous things. Now, I understand a little bit, like, I felt that, but they felt jealousy because of a slight insecurity. It's like, you know what, I don't know what, but they can talk about it, and it's like, it's just something that I have, and maybe something's new to them. I can understand it, but as a person who is naturally just jealous about everything, just, oh man, I cannot stand it, because that jealousy also it manifests into other things. It winds up taking away your personal space. It winds up making sure that your phone is checked all the time, or what do your emails say? I have to get it. It winds up being way more obsessive. And instead of just that little bit of jealousy, it's like, okay, I like what did Willie D say? I dig your jealousy, boo, but sometimes I need my space. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, sometimes it's like we like, but, we need our space also. So anybody can do that. So if you know anybody like that, I would love to know how you handle that with the person, because what a lot of people do, and I see a lot of friends do this, where they take the side of that one person, because, that person may have said, oh, you know what, I like to, this person's driving me crazy, and whatever. And so their friends like, yeah, you need to get out of that relationship, girl. You need to but they have literally no idea what the whole conversation, what the whole picture is. There's always going to be two sides to everything. So if you're going to wind up only believing your girl and not seeing that the pattern that he or she has, is obsessive around someone else, it can't always be somebody else's fault all the time.
Like, every breakup is so dramatic. Every breakup is, oh, he's this, he's that. Then there's a pattern. Now I get it. You've got times when when a breakup happens and it's like, this guy's crazy. Girl, yeah. But because maybe that only happened maybe one time with your friend. And I get that. That's when you can really kind of gauge and figure out what's really going on. But when you see a pattern of this person, every breakup is so dramatic, is so over the top, and he's beyond crazy all the time, then you got to kind of question what's going on.
And trust me, this goes on with men and women. I don't think that it's only one. There are men, obviously.
I know a lot of men
who
too.
Are stalkers who do this. There are also a lot of women who are stalkers or obsessively in love with somebody, and you got to wonder what the root issue is. What is it that's down deep that you need to have this connection with somebody, and you're trying to force it? Forcing a square peg into a round hole is not going to wind up being any type of a healthy relationship at all. If you can give me one way where that has actually wound up being, some people might wind up saying arranged marriages, but no, like, they can never do that. I want to know that one where it's obsessive and it has actually worked for you. But anyway, let us know what you think. We want to know if you've been in an obsessive relationship. What have you done to get out of it?
Or are you still in one?
Yeah, and what have you done to your friends? What kind of advice have you given them? To talk to them down? Have you talked to them about whatever they're doing, whatever they're posting online? Have you even tried to get them some help? So if you can, just make sure you hit us up. We're on social network. You know where to find us, at Zod and Dre on Instagram, everywhere. Twitter, we love posting over there. And of course, make sure you check out our road trip 2019 to Puerto Peñasco, Rocky Point, Mexico, which is there right now. You can check out all 3 videos.
And let us know if you've taken those trips before, or again, if you want to be a guest on our show. We always appreciate guests.
Yes, make sure you go to the contact area. Make sure you submit your podcast or articles. Contact